This is DarthRavage07 coming at you today with another quick review, this time of a Star Wars Anakin Starfighter with R2 and a 3 1/4, I can't remember, it was one of the vintage lines, as Anakin has the angry Sith Eyes, as you can see him in the cockpit glaring at us. And this is the kind of thing I have to say in the last few years they've gotten less and far away from is actual vehicles with landing gear. They had a fire mechanism that come out of this over here. You can actually take that R2 shell out and put an actual R2 in, and I've got like Anakin in there. This is a really fun ship to have. Very swooshable. And I mean, I grew up with mass figures and G.I. Joe Rattler and all that stuff, and I think this is something that we've missed inside of retail is affordable. Like I picked this up in 2004, and it was $24 altogether. And they've gotten a little unruly with what little bit of ships I see released now outside of Toys. Since Toys R Us been closed, that might be another factor. But they used to push these buttons here and it launched that. The thing I love the most about this whole set is you push this middle bottom button, and I'm just trying to get a hold of this because I don't want to mess it up. The effect, the folds open up into TIE Fighter. It's a Jedi Starfighter, Anakin's Jedi Starfighter, but you can clearly see the detail on the inside of the wings there. It's like a TIE Fighter type Vance little wings, and keep going around the block here with this S folds open. I just love the way it looks there with the S folds open. It's like an extra set of shields, and Anakin's known for doing flips and other kinds of barrel rolls and stuff. But it looks like a TIE Fighter. It's a Jedi Starfighter that evolved into a TIE Fighter. I really love the look of that. It's got the cockpit of the TIE Fighter along with the old Jedi Starfighter canopy there. And anyway, these fold up very nice and neat. Clicks back into place. That's a great play feature. They had the V-wings I didn't ever get a hold of. They had smaller versions as the die cast, but that's what I'm talking about. And I guess a little bit of whining and complaining about is that they have just totally abandoned these vehicles that held the action figures, or the action figures could fly and drive them or whatever. They've taken that away, and they've just went with these little smaller deals. They're like Hot Wheels cars. I mean, people want stuff that is cool, like this Ford GT 2017 model. This is not a Transformer. It's one thing, and that was the beauty and allure of Transformers and or the vehicle play, was you had a cool looking vehicle and a robot in disguise. Now granted, this thing you do a little rollback action and it goes flying across the floor, and it's a great replica of the Ford GT, but that's what the allure of robots in disguise and some of these other things, it's just like, that's what we grew up with. It's the playability there. And anyway, I guess they have opted to do it with smaller, not have the interaction. Anyway, I just think this is a really awesome spaceship from this is Revenge of the Sith movie, the third movie, episode 3. I got it. It was shipped on the bottom. It says it's made in 2004, and I actually bought it in 2005. So I'm going to pause this real quick and get that Anakin out and take a closer look at the details there with him and show him off a bit better. Give me just a moment. And here is Anakin outside of the starship. He told R2 to stay put or whatever when he went into Mustafar, and he tore up the rest of Newt Gunray and the rest of them, what was left of the separatists there at Mustafar. And this was him carrying his little lightsaber in to that whole deal there. And then what's so neat is that you can take that off of there. I don't know if I can get it off of there right quick. He does have his Android hand. I like the soft goods on this, but you can take this out real quick here, and you can peg it into his belt. So you can totally get the whole Anakin, you know, does that deal there and has it on his belt, but then you can also have him go in there and cut down the rest of the Separatist pose there, and he can do his little force choke. It's a really cool Anakin figure. That's the whole reason why I got it and opened it, and it's probably worth a lot more in that packaging still, but that's Darth Vader all the way to a T right there. After he got the Mustafar, he was everybody in that room's worst nightmare. Give me just a moment here. Try to get one more cool pose with this guy. As Anakin and/or Darth Vader went in there and closed the doors on the Separatists and closed their chapter of their involvement with the Sith being mighty once more. But I love the soft goods on this Anakin. It's a 3 3/4 inch figure. He looks amazing. He's got that great eye detail. He's got the force choke hand. He's got a saber. I showed you where he can stow his other saber in the belt. Another really cool thing that I have stored inside of the cockpit in stasis was I had the actual movie stuff for going and watching that back on May 17th at the 435 show in Cinema 8 at the Hollywood 14, also known as Carolina Cinemas these days. They put the couches in our area first and went to that midnight show. Anyway, that was back then. It was my first year back in school to go back to school for IT, and it was just really nice to hit that. It was like a little reward for the end of the semester there. So I was able to geek out that with all my classmates and friends, and this is where I keep it inside of the cockpit as a little relic souvenir. How many of you guys actually do that kind of silly thing like I've done? Just keep everything together. You have like a little montage, a little, history with the figures and stuff. I feel like it's a silly thing I've done, but I'm glad I did it now because it's just another piece in the thing, and I'll probably keep this forever. I don't want to sell it or anything. I want to hang on to it, and that was one of the cool things of watching him fall. I didn't really care for much for him whenever he the way he got dupe turned or whatever, with the whole Mace Windu Palpatine in the office thing. But then when he went to Mustafar, then we actually saw glimpses of Vader doing Vader things instead of cutaways, and I don't want to. They did stylishly, cut the younglings at the temple and that other stuff in half, and then showed him being brutal to the Separatists and following Palpatine's, Order 66 and whatnot. But we know how he fared after that, because that's the last time he looked like this in that movie. But enough of me rambling on about a cool figure, I'd like to see more of this in the future. I'd love to see a mass thing come out with these size vehicles, bigger size vehicles. Keep it around the $25 to $30 price mark where people can afford it a little bit. Or if you can do masterpiece versions, I'm willing to go up to $80 to $100. But and the same thing with Star Wars figures. I'd like to have this rather than the other little stuff. And then the next thing I'm going to review is a die cast. I love the ships, and having the ships alone would be okay if I didn't have it to where you could have the figures at the 3/4 inch interacted with it. I think it's a little bit too big to do the 6-inch figures, because that one TIE fighter to scale was like a small portion of the living room taken up for those that had it. I watched those reviews, a little bit on the ridiculous side. So I'd like to have some more ships like this, and I've watched other people with the very first Star Wars movie ship build the X-Wing Armada and the TIE fighters and whatnot. Anyway, I just want one. That's worthy. So that's what I did with the Revenge of the Sith line. I got a worthy Anakin with the Sith Eyes, and those Sith Eyes, I don't know if I can get it in closer so you can see it before we go here today. That's just well done. I think they're doing some stuff with that with the 6-inch figures now that or just as good as this. And this one doesn't have pivots. It has swivels, but no pivots. And it does got the force choke hand, but anyway, it was a good figure for what it was worth, and might look it up and might come back and reshoot this video later. But just wanted to get some thoughts out there as to I'd like to see the figures with the ships that have the firing projectiles, not the Nerf cannons. Or if it did Nerf, just do it smaller, a little bit smaller, you know. Or it wasn't so egregious as it. I know that a couple of the Rogue One stuff had it, but it was like really big stuff, but not as the small size as this had. Anyway, thanks again for watching this. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, comment below. And thanks again to all that have, and don't forget to check out the description below, the links there for doing a cruise and for more cruises to help entice you to maybe want to go. Thanks again, guys. Y'all have an excellent day. May the force be with you.